Hello everyone, this is Professor Hill, and this is a short video for our class, Introduction to Ethics, Philosophy 2306 here at St. Philip's College. This is the online version of the class for the fall 2018 semester. Today's Monday, the 24th of September. And so we just came off a weekend, and we're looking ahead to our deadline, which is in 2 days, Wednesday, the 28th. That's when the next discussion is due. And I want to do a couple things. I want to talk about the grading of the last assignment, and then also talk a little bit about this upcoming case study that we have due Wednesday night. So a couple of things. Number one, most people did really well on the first assignment. And everybody, well, not everybody, but most people did exactly what they needed to do, which was they read the first chapter, they brought some of those concepts to bear on the case study, they wrote up their first initial contribution, 500 words, like a little mini essay, 500 words. They went to the discussion page, copied and pasted that thing right in there. That opens up the assignment so you can see the other students' comments. And then you run through those, read through some, and react, and make at least 2 comments on your classmates. Now, some people, there's a few people that just got tripped up. And the biggest problems we had were some people didn't write 500 words for the initial contribution. I think that's been pretty much cleared up now, though. Some people made the initial contribution and then didn't comment on anybody else's. You got to do that. So don't comment just like on 1, but not 2. You got to do at least 2. Some people did 3, 4, 5 more. That's okay. Again, they just kind of got into it. It's an interesting case study. One thing about this too, just to be clear about this, which is when you go to that discussion and you read it, when you click on it for the first time, you need to enter in your contribution and then hit enter and then read through the others' contributions. You need to do it in that order. You got to contribute first and then read the others. And again, it's like, guys, it's one of these things where, I can see every keystroke. So don't click in first and try to read other people's stuff first. Make your contribution to the case study, then get in there. And what you'll see is that, buried in the syllabus, it says, guys, you got to do that. Don't do it. A couple of people, I think they just made a mistake. I get it. That's fine. But you can fail the assignment or even the course, depending on the circumstances. So be careful about that. Make your contribution, then read through the others and comment on at least 2. But again, like I said, that was just a couple of people. And again, it was the first discussion. I mean, we had the practice with the introductions, but whatever. I gave a couple of folks a little extra time to try to expand if they came in under the 500 words. I said, look, the first one, again, it's the first time. I'll be a little flexible. But, going forward now, look, we got to get serious about this. So have 500 words or more. Somebody wrote a lot. So anyway, my point is that just follow those simple rules and everybody will be fine. So what we're doing now is finishing up reading chapter 2. We are looking at the key concepts from there, objectivism, relativism, and we're applying them to this case study. Now, you'll also notice that with this particular case study, this is John the paramedic. The question at the bottom is really a question, one of the questions is about, the first question is about, did you think what John did was right or wrong, good or bad? And I'm going to come back to that in a second and why. It does say, are applied ethics involved here, which is a concept from the first chapter. So we do want to pull that forward and answer that question. Do you think applied ethics is applicable in this situation with John the paramedic? But come back to this question at the very beginning. The first thing is what John did right or wrong? Because we're talking about morality, our beliefs about good and bad, right and wrong. And I want you to both say, no, I think what he did was fine, or no, he shouldn't have done it. It was wrong. So you got to make a choice. There were some people that were making comments like, we really shouldn't judge. And we've been through that before. You got to make a decision here. You're judging these people. That's what we're doing here. And so you got to be clear. It can come down on that one way or the other. Now, the next thing is why. And that's where we get into this thing about objectivism and relativism. Um, I want you to think to yourself and apply this to the case study. Is what John did wrong? Let's say you think it's wrong. It's wrong because it violated some principle or rule that applies to everybody, which is objectivism, right? The belief that some moral principles apply to everybody. Or do you think that, no, well, look, what I think he did was wrong, so you could be on the same side of the issue here, saying it's wrong. One says objectivism is violating some rule or principle, but the other could be, no, look, based on this situation, based on the factors, based on all of these things taken into consideration, I weighed and balanced them. My values say what he did was wrong. These are cultural values, and he shouldn't have done it. So what you see is it's not just right or wrong, because those things also cut the other way. It's why. It's what's the foundation or basis of that. Now, some people really got into this with the first discussion, did a great job. Others need to, you got to pull forward the concepts from the chapter and apply them. The people that did not do as well with the first discussion were people that they just gave a response. Like, they could just read it and say, oh, well, I think it's wrong. And that's not applying the concepts of the chapter. Here, when you get into why, I want you to be using the terms objectivism or relativism. Is it cultural relativism? And again, if you're going to get into subjective relativism or emotivism, make sure you know what those words mean, okay? In the past, I have students, they see emotivism, they think that means, oh, I make a lot of decisions based on my emotions. Maybe that's what emotivism is. It's like, no, that's not what that word means. So make sure, so you do need to move the concepts and apply them to the case study, but make sure you're doing that right, okay? It's due on the 26th, Wednesday at midnight. It's Monday. I think most people, if you've read the chapter, you're working your way through an essay, great. If you got questions, as always, anytime, just let me know. Send me a message through Canvas, or you can contact me here. I'm happy to help you out with your individual aspect of that. But again, avoid the pitfalls which tripped up a couple of people the first time. Like I said, most people did it just right, or they're doing really well. We're just going to keep on doing that. So chapter 2, apply it to the case study. You'll be fine. Take care. Bye-bye.